How are y'all doing? My name is Anthony Moore, and today I will be discussing the topic of core training. Throughout this presentation on core training, I will be discussing what is considered your core, the role of the core training exercises, static training, dynamic training, functional core training, the benefits of performing core training, and then I will have a brief video that is a pretty nice example of what dynamic and static core training workouts should look like, and some of the type of movements and exercises that should be consistent or should be included in your core training regimens. And also I will have a conclusion and a few questions for you guys. What is your core? Is it having a nice six-pack or an eight-pack, which I know all of us would love to have or might have? Is it considered just the center of your body? Being able to balance on one leg or both legs, maybe one arm? The ability to run fast, to jump high, to have good change of direction, to jump laterally, being able to swim? Or is your core just simply doing abs? These are some of the typical responses that you might get when asking people, what does your core consist of? What is core? But most of these answers or most of these questions all include your core or having a nice good foundation. What is your core? As you can see, it's more than just abs or having a fancy six-pack. Your core does not consist of just your abdomen muscles. As you see on the screen of the young man displayed many of the muscle groups that are considered to be your core. Your core consists of your hip flexors, your extenders, your abductors, your deductors, your abdomens, your obliques, which are located on the side, both internal and external. Then you have your gluteus maximus, your gluteus minimus, your gluteus medius, and as you can see, your core consists of many different muscle groups besides just your abdomen. These muscle groups also go down into your pelvis, your buttocks. It's all muscle groups besides your legs and your arms. And these muscle groups are very important, but most of them are fairly small, and a lot of them they can be seen on the outside, but a good amount of them are also internal and not just external. Now that you know the muscles that are involved in the core, I'm going to talk about the role of the core and what those muscles actually do for us as individuals and humans going throughout the everyday life that we live. These core muscles work together to allow us to bend, twist, rotate, and to stand uprightly. They all work in conjunction with one another to help us achieve these movements. And the stronger your core is, obviously, the easier it is for each individual to do these movements, such as bend, twist, rotate, stand uprightly, bend over, pick up heavier things, and just be more powerful coming from their core. The second role of your core is these muscles help control movements, transfer energy, shift body weights, and allow us to move in any direction that we choose to. They work together to be more stabilizing than prime movers. So in all our everyday movements, like I said once before, it helps transfer energy, give you those bursts of energy, to give you that burst of leverage, to help you in certain movements. It helps you control, it helps you and allows you to move in all different directions. And lastly, it helps disperse the stresses of weight-bearing activities. And during weight-bearing activities, your core tends to take some of the tension, the stress off whatever muscle group that you're using. If you're balancing on one leg, it helps takes the stress and the weight bearing off that one ankle, and it also allows you to distribute it and to disperse it into other parts of your body to allow you to achieve that movement or to do certain movements a whole lot easier and smoother. The effects your core plays on your other body parts. It helps improve your posture. Your core includes your back, so it helps your posture. It prevents back injuries by distributing the stresses. If your back injuries occur, core exercises are usually part of the rehab regimen. And according to Sato and his colleague, and other studies that have been shown that athletes with a high core stability have lower risk of injury. And on the next slide, I will be discussing his study and another study that showed the benefits of having a core or a strong stability. On this slide, I will be discussing two studies that were very similar to one another, and they both address core stability or core strengthening training. The first study was done by Haynes and his colleagues, who kind of have difficult names to pronounce. They did a study that was 6 weeks of core stability training, and they wanted to see if it would improve landing calisthenics among female athletes. The testing size that they used was 16 females that were voluntarily, and they tested these females landing calisthenics during drop jumps, and they tested the following CST intervention on these female athletes. And at the end of the study, they concluded that female athletes that had trunk dominance core stability training improved their landing kinesthetics and may reduce lower extremity injury risk in female athletes. And the second study is on Sato and his colleague, and they did their study on does core strength training influence running kinesthetics, lower extremity stability, and 5,000 meter performance. They did their study on 28 healthy athletes or adults. During their study, they determined the effects of a 6 weeks CST on ground reaction force, the stability of lower extremities, and the overall performance in the race. And they concluded that the people who were involved in the 6 weeks core training, they developed faster times in the 5,000 meter run, and they noted that strength training may be effective training method for improving performance in your runners. Static core training. Core strengthening that does not require movement. And these are your exercises such as planks, side planks, push-up holds, anything that requires you to work your core but you're not actively moving. You're holding a position, you're holding a pose such as like downward facing dog. Many of your yoga poses, after you get into the pose and you hold it for a particular moment of time, or you're not moving an arm or swaying back and forth, these are all considered static core training methods. And once again, I will reiterate that these are movements, or these are core training methods that do not require movement. Unlike static core training, where the training does not require movement. Dynamic core training, it involves the joints and muscles in a movement pattern through a range of motion that requires dynamic core motor control. And these are your more popular movements, such as like Olympic lifts and running, deadlifts, jumping, putting your knee to the bar, such as abs, doing pull-ups, and all those exercises that activate your core while moving and doing other activities. And on the next 3 slides, I will have examples that demonstrate dynamic core training, both with free weights, no weights, and assisted equipment. Dynamic core training can be done using free weights, stabilizers, different type of equipment like a med ball, a BOSI ball, or dynamic core training can be done with free weights, and also static core training can be done with these things also. You just have to hold the position. But as you see on the screen now, these are examples of core training without any weights. As you go through looking at the demonstration, we have planks, we have Supermans, we have planks with one arm up, one leg back. It's just all movements, balancing on one leg, going from the push-up position down to planks. We call them plank downs. You can do wall sits, high knees, high knee twists, just rotating your trunk, crossing your legs and doing types of abdomen movements, doing regular sit-ups, bicycles, mountain climbers, side planks. All of these variations that she's demonstrating for us all require you to tighten your core and help work on your stabilizers, to work on your core, your back muscles, your abdomen, your obliques, all those small muscles, even the muscles that are underneath those are very important also, and they will be worked throughout this process. And when you're doing these type of movements, as you can see, these are dynamic core training exercises that use additional equipment such as BOSI ball, stability balls. You can use med balls. It's just that additional element that allows you to work on your stablers and your core. Starting from the top left, going to our right, and then down to the bottom left to the right. At the top, you see the young individual doing a lot of core stability with his shoulder blades on the ball. This allows you to, or forces you to contract your abdomen, your hamstrings, and also helps contract your back muscles as well. To our top right, the young individual is on a pad that is used to work on your stabilizers and your ankles, but in order for him to keep his balance and to allow for him to bend in that certain position that he's in now, he had to tighten his core, his back muscles. All those stabilizers allow you to perform these certain acts. At the bottom, the young lady, she's doing squats on a BOSI ball. The BOSI ball is a very unbalanced equipment which allows you to, or forces you to work your core and to activate those muscles to help you balance on the ball, and also not only balance on the ball but to squat and do different type of movements on the ball. And to our bottom right, the young individual is doing ball push-ups, he's doing ball knee tucks, he's doing ball reverse crunches, and then also you can see he's doing bridges without the ball. But the 3 exercises that he's doing with the ball, 2 of which he's working, or all of them he's working his core muscles, but on the other two he's working his back muscles, hamstring muscles, and just attacking that core. But the core allows him to keep his balance with his feet on the ball or his hands on the ball. He has to be able to contract his core and to maintain that position in order to do those particular movements. And lastly, you can perform dynamic core training with free weights. This can be the dumbbell, the barbell, kettlebells, curl bars, anything that allows you to add weight or take weight off can be considered as a free weight. And during these movements, your core does the same thing as before. It helps you activate those muscles, disperse powerful movements throughout your body. It allows you to maintain to be stable, maintain the position, helps you maintain great posture and form throughout the exercise of the movement. But it's very important to make sure that you maintain that position and that you don't compensate form for weight. And the last type of core training I will be talking about is functional core training. Functional core training are non-purposeful or non-targeted or directed towards your core. It just indirectly works your core. And this can be movements such as Olympic movements, because Olympic movements, in order to be good at them or in order to actually do the movement, you have to tighten your core and disperse that energy and that power to do the movements like overhead squat, snatch, power clean. All these movements are directed to work other muscle groups, but it indirectly works your core. Squat movements, when you squat, in order to stabilize, to keep your balance, to go down and to come back up, you have to activate your core muscles in order to keep you balanced, from falling forward, from falling back, to allow to hold that weight at a very central position in order for you to do the movements. In football, when you're tackling people or when that wide receiver makes that spectacular catch, he sells out, he tightens his core, he contracts those muscles to jump out to catch the ball. All of that is indirectly working your core, using your core to perform an act. Basketball is also, and basketball and all the other sports are just like football. Like all the explosive movements and powerful movements that you see most of these players are doing are indirectly working your core, and you need a good core to perform these activities. So it is very important also to do functional core training, and that can come from practicing these sports, just playing them for recreational purposes. It also allows you to work them indirectly while having fun and while achieving your goal. Now that I have discussed dynamic core training, static core training, and functional core training, I would like to give you an example of a core workout that includes both static and dynamic training. This example gives you kind of a workout regimen that of good movements and exercises, and also like setting reps or how long you should hold certain poses to help strengthen your core. Many of these movements can be considered beginner movements, intermediate movements, and there's a few extreme movements, but depending on your current situation or your current state, you need to start somewhere and progress as your core gets more stronger and stronger, and as it gets stronger and stronger, then you need to progress and make the movements more difficult. But here is a 10-minute video of a core workout, and if the video is not working, then you can go to youtube.com and type in 10-minute abs and core workout without crunches by Class Fit Sugar. I think it's very interesting how they work their core without doing a single crunch or ab. Benefits in performing core training. According to health.com, Harvard Health publications, and many other sources, I found a few benefits of performing core training. And these benefits include or consist of improving posture and balance. And then with improving posture and balance is training the muscles of the core can help correct posture and balance, and that can potentially lead to injuries. When having a good back or a tight core, it helps adjust and make you sit more upright and support the spine to where you can have an improved or better posture and balance. It also improves athletic performance because the muscles of the trunk and the torso stabilize the spine, the pelvis, the neck, the shoulders, and many other big muscle groups. That allows you to transfer, your core allows you to transfer power to your arms and to your legs and to your shoulders, which helps you generate those more explosive movements, those powerful movements, because they all originate and they come from like the center of your body or from your core out. Because when you brace to do a powerful movement, a quick twitch movement, any type of movement really, your muscles contract very extremely, and then from there disperse the energy and the muscles and the power for you can perform those extreme powerful movements. The third benefit of performing core training is a strong core distributes the stress of weight-bearing activities. So not only does it allow you to have good posture and improve your athletic performance, it helps you take that stress of whatever the activity that you're doing and to disperse it through to multiple muscle groups to allow you to perform balancing on one leg, swimming, or jumping up and down on one leg. Your body knows how to react and to how to disperse the stress to allow you to perform these certain acts. Fourth, performing core training reduces back pain. In fact, it is a weak and unbalanced core that links with lower back pains. A weak core muscle results in bad posture and inappropriate like curvatry in your back, and it makes you have a sway back posture. But when you have a strong balanced core or a core group of muscles that help you maintain that posture, it reduces stress on your spine and it pulls your shoulder back and make you sit more upright and have more of a correct posture. And one of the last benefits of performing core training is it helps improve your everyday acts. Everyday acts can be on the job task. On the job task can be walking up and down stairs, getting coffee, typing on the computer. And then from there it helps you with just balancing and stabilizing. Balancing and stabilizing can be walking down the street, walking downstairs, waiting for a car to go by, waiting to cross the street, sitting down, sitting on a stool. A tight core helps you balance and stabilize when you're doing all type of movements. It also helps you improving your manual labor, which can be planting any outdoor activities, planting flowers, planting trees, cutting the grass, building fences, all those dirty assignments or duties. It allows you to do those acts. And also just basic movements like I've been harping on, just walking, standing, taking showers, swaying your arms, bending over, picking something up. These are all benefits of having a core and to do core training to help strengthen that core, to allow all these movements and all these performances be more effective, and to make them transition and be more smoothly in the act of doing some of these daily tasks or activities. Unlike all things, there are both beneficial things and not so beneficial things, the pros and the cons. And the cons for core training are: if using improper form or not activating the core in dynamic training, it can lead to back pains, posture problems as you age, and injuries. Most of these back pains, posture problems, and injuries all come from having bad form and not activating your core throughout dynamic movements. Because when you don't activate your core, you have posture form, it makes you have more of an arch in your back, or it makes you have more of a slump back, which is the poor posture, is when you have a slump back. And when you have a slump back, it's because your core is not strong enough, or your back muscles are overpowering. When your abdomen muscles and your back muscles are not semi-proportional or even, one's going to be more dominant than the other. So which forces you, if a movement gets too hard, it makes you have more of an arch in your back, which can put strain on your back. And that's how you get your injuries. And those are the cons of core training. In conclusion, there are many different muscles, both big and small, that make up the structure of your core. When starting off with this presentation, I'm pretty sure many of us, including myself, did not think that many muscles were included in your core. So it is important to understand that your core plays a big role in your everyday life. So it is important to try to help build those muscles and those stabilizers to increase and to improve your everyday life. Having a strong core can increase your performance in all activities. That can be in your everyday life, your athletic ability, playing recreational sports, being able to plant flowers in the garden, to walk downstairs, to walk around the block, to run upstairs, any movements, taking showers, bending over to get the soap, any movement includes your core or those stabilizers. So it is very important whenever you can to take advantage and to help work to strengthen your core. And also, strengthening your core assists with lowering your risk of injuries, and that includes all types of injuries, but most and especially your lower back or back injuries. Because when you get back injuries, they're just going to prescribe you core movements. So it's better to do the core movements and try to strengthen your core beforehand than after. Core training is very important, and it can be very beneficial for your body, and it's fairly simple to do on a day-to-day basis. It doesn't take much to work your core or to strengthen your core, but I'm pretty sure you can feel the difference in your body when you have more of a stronger core compared to a more weaker core. Some basic movements like picking up your kid or your child, or walking downstairs, or any basic movements, combing your hair, picking up things, balancing on one leg, can all be performed easier when you have more of a stronger core versus a more weaker core. A few tips when training your core. It is important to use proper form and to maintain good posture throughout these lifts. It is important to do those two things more than any other points that I have for you, is because it helps prevent injuries, it helps prevent your lower back, and you don't want to continue to lift improperly and it becomes a habit, and then you have permanent injuries that you're not aware of because you have been able to cope with them and you think it's natural because you're lifting quote unquote hard or heavyweight. And it is important to incorporate core movements and exercises in your workout regimen as much as possible, usually 3 times if you're working out 5 times a week. But like I said previously, walking, bending over, taking showers, everything is working your core. You just have to focus more so on keeping your core tight throughout doing all these movements. With that being said, you do not want to overtrain your core muscles because most of these muscles are very little and they're classified as small muscles. So it doesn't take much to overtrain them. And when you overtrain them, it tends to tighten your midsection, and when you tighten your midsection, that also tightens your rib cage, which makes it harder for you to breathe. Your lower back starts hurting more, and it becomes more of an everyday thing that your back is starting to hurt versus just very few occasions. And in the effective training method workouts, make sure you switch up your sets, your reps, and the different type of exercises that you do so your body does not get used to those core exercises, because then it's not going to be beneficial for you. Just like all workouts and all exercises that you do, you want to make sure that you have a nice variety so it continues to shock your body and you keep getting the most out of the workout, and it is more effective for you than allowing your body just to go through the motions because it's so used to those sets, those reps. Like your body gets used to doing 4 sets of 5 at a certain way every time you do squat, or every time you run 2 miles at a 9-minute pace. It's very important to switch up your regiment to shock your body to get the most out of the workouts. I just wanted to leave you with a few questions over core training. And these questions are: do you think that core training is important, if not more important, than working bigger muscle groups? And the second question I have for you is, from your own personal experience when training in any capacity, what were some of the movements or exercises that you liked and thought were very effective for you while training your core? Thank you. And here lastly are my citations.